Aidan, two stories here. Rates are increasing. Of course, it's great to see so much vaccination, but is there parts of America that are trying to relax things too quickly?
Absolutely. Hi, thank you for having me on. I'm really excited to talk to you about this. So, as you know, there are very good signs in terms of vaccination rates. The White House, which initially put its plan at 100 million vaccinations in the first 100 days of President Biden's tenure, have now overshot it and are now looking at 200 million as what they consider an attainable goal. So there's very much reason for optimism. But as leadership of the CDC are quick to say, and other public health experts for that matter, Americans still need to observe social distancing rules and other public health guidelines that can slow the spread, because as we've seen in Michigan, which I believe has seen something close to a 120% spike in COVID rates in, I believe, just around 2 weeks or so, and similar spikes in some other areas that give certainly cause for concern, to say the least, about relaxing more public health measures. It's pretty clear that we have to work in tangent. We need to continue our very historically successful vaccination campaign, in addition to keeping in place very necessary public health measures that have clearly shown time and time and again to slow the spread of this disease.
Just looking at anti-vaxxers and some countries, and we've had people outspoken here, and the messaging from government, others trying to sort of override it. What's it like in the US? It seems like there's an appetite for people to get vaccinated.
Mm-hmm. There definitely is, and as we've seen very early on during the vaccination campaign, which people are quick to forget was very slow in America, as recently as early February, organizations such as the Brookings Institute were sounding the alarm on comparatively low U.S. vaccination rates compared to much of the developed world. So our current cause for optimism, it's definitely warranted given how fast a turnaround we've seen in March. And another really good aspect of this is that COVID vaccination refusal rates, for lack of a better term, have seemed to be steadily declining since more and more people are finding that people they know have gotten vaccinated, and people who were, for one reason or another, skeptical of getting a vaccine, they've seen family, friends, coworkers receive the vaccine and understand now that this is actually an extremely safe and necessary procedure. So from what I've seen, we've seen massively declining rates in rates of people saying that they're not going to get the vaccine. Nonetheless, of course, as with all these things, public health measures will be disavowed by people who, for whatever reason, buy into anti-vaccine conspiracy theories, just as people bought into the conspiracy theories about mask wearing and the like. But there's definitely cause for optimism that rates of people who want the vaccine, it just seems to keep steadily going up. Mm-hmm. I myself am one of them. I'm looking forward to my vaccination.
Yes, exactly. Well, that is good news. What's the general feel about the media conference that the president held the other day? There's a very sort of analytical lens, a forensic lens on his every move because of his age and all the stuff that the former president went on with.
So I actually have not been seeing that much discourse about it currently. From my vantage point, most current discourse has surrounded just very optimistic prognoses regarding COVID. I've seen a lot of positive reception towards President Biden's public engagements, if I would say, over the past month, not just the recent meeting as mentioned, but also when he did sign the American Recovery Plan Act earlier this month. So I've actually seen a lot of positive reception with regard to Biden's public appearances. And a lot of people during the campaign last year simply did not see it that way. They were very concerned about Biden's relative non-participation on the campaign trail. But since becoming president, I've seen a lot of positive feedback toward his public appearances.
As a young American, is he the president your country needs right now?
Excuse me?
As a young American yourself, anecdotally, is he the president your country needs right now, Joe Biden?
I would say that Biden has shown a lot of surprisingly, I mean, for lack of a better term, I'm sure there are plenty of people, including myself, who were somewhat skeptical that Biden would be able to meet the challenge of preparing the United States and the global economy for a post-COVID recovery. But stuff like the Stimulus Act, which in many ways does constitute the most progressive piece of major legislation passed since the days of the Great Society in the 1960s, I think a lot of us have been pleasantly surprised by Biden's tone on matters of seeking economic justice in the wake of COVID, in really mounting a very, very steadfast and historic campaign to stop this virus in its tracks. So in many ways, I think the general feeling is one of pleasant surprise, at least among liberally minded young Americans who might have been skeptical in the start.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to be positive about now than there was possibly a few months ago. Aidan, great to have you on the program. We look forward to chatting with you real soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.